YouTube world, Mohawk Manny here. Short and sweet, we're going to watch The Woman in the Yard. It was directed by Jean Colette Serra. I'm probably butchering that name. And Sam Stefanak. It is about a widow who is dealing with a woman in the yard who is like a manifestation of her grief about her deceased husband. We're going to watch it and tell you what we think. This is the first time. Here we go. So that was the movie. Oh, man. So there are a lot of weird things happening. We're going to get to it because that was really strange. So, movie starts off with Ramona. She's the lead character. And, she wakes up. Spoiler warning. Spoiler, if you plan on watching it. Whatever. So first initial thoughts, I enjoyed the movie. It's one of those films that make you think. It's one of those films that it's a bit of a thinker, you know what I mean? So, all right, well, we'll get into it. Basically, starts off with Ramona is the mom. You kind of already get the feeling from like the beginning that the father passed away in an accident, and she's just not dealing with it well. You get introduced to the son, Taylor, and he's trying to kind of keep it together, trying to help his mom keep everything together. Then obviously there's the daughter, Annie. I'm not going to give a play-by-play, but one thing I will say is the movie's really nice. I think that it, for a new age horror or like a psychological thriller, I actually think that it's really good. I think that I enjoyed it for what it offered. It's not your run-of-the-mill paranormal movie. It's got its paranormal elements to it, but it's not exactly basic. So the father has passed away in an accident, and we kind of get introduced to this family who's struggling with the grief. You kind of see the grief being dealt with in a few different ways. You know, Ramona, she's not taking it well. She's not doing well. She's struggling to cope, right? Yeah, she's struggling. Yeah, right. Because we just got done watching the movie, but she's struggling to cope. The way the movie sets it up is I think it's only been a few weeks. So it's like, it's not like it's been years where she has to be done with it. But, yeah, Tay is trying to kind of keep the family together. He's making breakfast in the morning, and they're all, trying to have a normal, happy family. But, breakfast gets interrupted with, the power's out. Ramona, she was watching a video of her and her husband all night, so she was, her phone died. I'm terrible at this. Horrible reviewer. I just watched it. But, yeah, I'm not, like I said, no play-by-play, but it's a really good movie. The Woman in the Yard, she kind of pops up. The family's going crazy about it. They're wondering, like, well, what is this? One of the things that I like is you're really in this weird position because normal paranormal, right? You watch like any like Insidious or like The Nun or anything crazy, it's always like the ghost is not a part of the story so much as the ghost is an annoyance or like it's like a problem for the story, but it's not an actual physical person in it. Ramona goes out and she's like, hey, what are you doing here? And the lady in the front yard, the lady in the black, wherever they call her the woman. She's kind of just like, hey, what's your name? How'd I get here? Your husband's not coming back. And she's kind of, like, is very ominous. She's very ominous in the way that she approaches it. But then the movie kind of starts to pick up where you're stuck in this position where now you have to question, is the woman, is she a figment of her imagination? Is she real? What is real? What is not? I think what I got from the film is it's definitely a situation where Ramona is struggling with the grief of losing her husband. The kids are trying to struggle with the grief of losing their father. And one of the things that for me I seen, oh my gosh, is it came off to me as if the biggest question I left the watching it with was how much of the woman that how much of it was her and how much of it was Ramona almost struggling to deal with the grief of losing her husband. It's a really good watch, and it leaves you kind of guessing throughout the film because there are a couple moments where you start to question, is the woman there, or is this really just Ramona ultimately, like almost like an alter ego, but not an alter ego, right?
Going crazy.
Right, where it's like you feel like she's going insane, and is the woman a manifestation of that grief, or is the woman an actual, entity that is there? So it's a really interesting. It's I feel like this is horrible. It's the first one, guys, so this is gonna be really bad. But a lot of stuff happens. The woman, as time progresses, she gets a little closer. Ramona starts to kind of lose her mind. There's a dog, and the dog is barking at the lady, and then Ramona goes outside, and the dog, she starts pulling the chain, and the chain is in the ground, and she's going crazy, and she comes back inside, and Tay, her son, he's just really struggling with the fact of losing his father, and his mother is just not present, and he kind of tells her in the movie, he's go, hey, you haven't been there for weeks. Like, you just haven't mentally been here. And they start to kind of tease, like, it could be a possibility that Ramona is actually the woman, where she picks up, Annie after she kind of yells at her for writing her R backwards. And then there's like this calm, silent patience, and then she like stabs her in the back, but she's not really stabbing her. I like that the movie utilized pacing really well. There's really like, especially in the beginning, there's really no like abrasive or aggressive jump scares. There's no super loud music, something that it's telling you to be scared. I do enjoy that they utilize sound. Now the sounds are a little like excessive, like pulling out a knife. You get the loud like shh noise. You know what I mean? That's kind of crazy. But it wasn't so bad to the point where I didn't like it. I like that they utilized more of the ambience to pull some of that feeling and some of the emotion from you. It allowed you to kind of make yourself scared. Yeah. But anyway, so as the movie progresses, it starts to, so toward the tail end is where you start to get a little more of the paranormal aspect of the film, which this is a pro and a con for myself. Something about the shadows. She's able to use the shadows, and I liked where the movie was going. Toward the it's tough. See, I didn't dislike it. So there's a moment in the film where they start to show her like the son confronts Ramona. So Tay confronts his mother. Hey, what happened? The mother initially tells a story that, hey, your father was driving, the roads were slick, he crashed, and he didn't make it. The reality of it is she wanted to move from the city. She felt suffocated, so the husband said, hey, I'm going to build you your perfect house, and I'm going to take you out of the city, and I'm going to bring you somewhere, and we're going to start a new life. But Ramona wasn't happy. She went from feeling suffocated in the city and not being able to be free to almost too much freedom now. But she also feels like she replaced one prison for another. She leaves the city, and now she's taking care of chickens and the house and the kids, and she doesn't have a job, so she's lost that feeling of independence, and she just felt unfulfilled and unsatisfied in life. And they're driving down the road. She sees the woman in the rearview mirror. She crashes. The husband passes away. At this point in the movie, the son Tay has gone outside to confront the woman. He's got his weapon, and he's the woman is speaking to him. She's telling him, hey, your mom lied to you. She's not telling you the truth. I'm really butchering this. You gotta watch it yourself because I'm butchering it really bad right now. But pretty much, the son goes back inside and he confronts his mom, and he goes, hey, tell me the truth. She tells him the story. And then this is the only part of the movie that I liked it, but I didn't like it, was that they utilized, so the woman is almost able to move through the shadows. There's not many rules given I think that's one of the things for myself. There aren't many rules given. Like, I like the ambiguity of not knowing who she is, where she comes from, where does she get her powers, you know. I like that it's almost like she is grief, but there are moments where it almost feels like in real time she's an actual physical being that is there. But then there are moments where you're kind of questioning, is she just a manifestation of Ramona's guilt for obviously taking her husband from her kids and losing someone she loved, and also just being so frustrated and hateful in the last moments before he's gone. But they go inside, and the woman, she's utilizing and manipulating the shadows, and she's knocking things over, and she's scaring Annie. I liked it, but I didn't like it. You know, obviously they kind of redeem themselves a little bit when they go up into the attic, and it's kind of like the big confrontation scene where this is where, for me, the movie takes this turn that I kind of enjoyed. And this is the part where, like I said in the beginning, it's kind of a thinker where you have to really kind of like question. They're up in the attic. They start to kind of find out that as long as you, it almost seems like Ramona knows the woman also, because she's like, she knows her. She says like little things in the film that make you feel like she's already confronted this before, where she's like, you know, oh, we have to start closing the windows. You can't let light in. Anytime there's a shadow, she can move through the shadows. And Ramona, they start closing up the windows. They run up in the attic. The attic is got like one big window in the back. They put a painting over it. The lady is in the attic, and she's like, it's pretty good in terms of, if you're looking for a good scare, it was good. But they're in the attic, and it kind of comes to the moment where, now this is where for me the film, it takes a strange turn, not in a bad way. It definitely gave me very like Jordan Peele vibes. If like you watch like Us, it's definitely, it gives me that kind of vibe. But in this moment in the attic, they're upstairs. The lady, the woman, she attacks. They have like this like face off where Ramona's got like this flashlight. She's like, and then the lady pops up behind her, knocks it down, and it's spinning around the room, and they're fighting. So here's where the movie kind of takes a weird turn. The woman knocks Ramona over some boxes, and as Ramona falls, she turns into like this like shadowy figure. So it's almost like the woman switches places with Ramona and starts to approach Annie. It's really scary. The prosthetics, the makeup looked really good. It looked really real, and it had a little bit of a horror vibe to it that I actually really enjoyed. So it was one of those things where she's walking up to Annie, and Annie's just staring at her, and Tay's in the corner because Tay got folded too. He got flung against the wall. And she's walking up to Annie, and she's like, you know, hey, I'm not going to hurt you. I'm your mom. Here I come. And then Annie's just looking at her. She's really scared. She's like, oh, my God, you're going to come and kill me. And she hugs her, and then they turn into, like, dust. And then Tay gets up, and Tay's like, oh, my God, my mom is gone. And then, oh, no, Ramona pops up behind him. And they're like, oh, my God, we gotta get Annie back. And they see, like, through the attic door, they see flashing of the light, and they go over to it, and they open it, and the room downstairs, directly down the ladder, there's the light flashing. Ramona goes down there, and then this is, for me, this is so strange. Wow, I'm in this weird box where I question how much I like this movie, because I do enjoy it, but to speed it up, because I'm taking forever to get through this, pretty much she goes in the room. It's kind of a cool shot, because she's like going through this trip in her mind where she finds Annie, and she's like going through the process of the entire, like, the movie, where they almost present it like she is the woman. She's relives the moment of the crash. She swaps places with the woman to some degree, where she's now in the front yard, and the woman speaking to her through herself. And she snaps out of it. She gets Annie back. And as she tells Tay, like, hey, take your sister downstairs, the woman is in the room with her. She points the gun at her. And, the woman walks up and she's like, man, like they talk like they know each other. I think that's the only thing about this movie that I really did enjoy was the woman didn't just feel like a prop. She felt like a part of the story. So I really enjoyed that. But they're talking and she's like, hey man, how do I save my family? What do I do? And the woman, she goes, the best way for you to help your kids live a happy life and move on is you can't be here. And she shows her lights a lighter, and she shows the pictures where they're kids, and then they, it shows the future that they could have if she's not there. But she's also pretty much insinuating to Ramona, your grief is so heavy on you that you're like destroying your kids' lives. The best way for you to help them is for you not to be here. So it's almost like the situation where she goes, okay, let me say goodbye to my kids. The woman goes, yeah, I got you. They're hugging, like she's kind of like on the side of her, and she goes, yeah, that's a good idea. You should say goodbye. She goes downstairs, and this is where the movie, for me, when you're watching it, it really is going to force you to think, because she's like, hey, I might have just told this backwards, because she goes into the gun, like a gun safe. I'm butchering this review, but I'm too deep now to stop. She goes into the gun safe. She sees her husband. Like I said, I don't know if I pointed out, but she got upset with Annie for making all the R's backwards. She yelled at her for putting her R's backwards. She goes to the gun safe, and when she's in the gun safe, she steps through like this mirror where she's almost in a dimension where everything's backwards, because she sees her husband and they talk to each other, but then she sees a tattoo on his arm and it's in reverse, and she sees the clock, it's in reverse, and there's a painting with her signature that's also in reverse. And it's like this moment where the husband jumps up and he puts the towel over, the sheet over her head, and he's choking her. And then this is when it transitions to her being in the yard, and she's got the black sheet over her face, and then she sees herself come out, and she's now envisioning herself as the woman. And the movie, it kind of cuts to her coming back, and she's like, oh man, and this is when her and the woman have the conversation, whatever, what have you, where she starts to the movie starts to make you question what is real and who is who, and was there ever a woman in the first place? But just whatever, to cut it short, the woman, she goes into the her garage, and the woman basically says, hey, I want you to take your own life. And she's fighting with her. The daughter had given her a penguin and said, hey mommy, I don't want you to be alone. So it's one of those moments where she's fighting with the thought of, should I end it? Should I take that step? Or should I fight and stay for my kids because they need me? And it cuts away in a way where it's looking at the upside of the shed, or the garage. And now you're in this position where you have to ask yourself, what happened? Did she make that decision? Did she not? Is she still Ramona? Is she now the woman? And then the movie ends where her kids come running back up to her. They go, hey mom, you're still alive. We're so happy. They hug. They ask her, is the woman gone? Ramona says, for now. She says, not today. And they say, will she be back? And she says, if she does, we'll be ready. And then they start walking into the house. Like I said, the dog that was missing is back now. The part where I assume they want you to make the inference hey, maybe she did decide to, take the second option and, end it, is not funny, but yeah. But anyway, they, as they walk in the house, everything's happy. The power comes back on, and she walks in through the door. They close the door. They show a picture, a painting, and it's got her signature, and it's backwards. My review is horrendous, but the movie was actually really good. I guess just before I end it, if you're looking for a psychological horror where it's not your run-of-the-mill kind of paranormal, schlocky movies that kind of get made nowadays, where a lot of them kind of follow the same formula, this, and then it's, if you're looking for a horror movie that's kind of trying to go in its own lane and be different, I think this is a really good one for you. It definitely has its own way of approaching the psychological aspect of it while also still trying to maintain some of the horror. But what I like about it is it's kind of just letting you feel the weight of the scenes. There are obviously toward the end, there's a couple moments where it's like it's doing some of the tropes where, you know, a person will like, and then she's there, like, kind of thing, where that happens. But it's not done in a way like if you watch a lot of paranormal movies where it's annoying, where it's like, you know what's gonna happen, where like the person is like, oh no, like, where is she, and then she just like in her face. Good movie overall. First of many movie reviews. Happy spooky month. Next time we do this, it's gonna be a lot better, but I'm very tired, and the movie was it was actually good. I enjoyed it. So yeah, long, very long explanation, and you're probably gonna think this is the rant of a drunk man who's heavily intoxicated. Go watch the movie, enjoy it. I will see you guys next time. I don't know what we're gonna review next, but it's gonna be something scary. It'll either be something we haven't seen or something that is maybe old, or maybe something that didn't get a lot of love, and we're gonna give it a better, give it a chance, give it a second opportunity. Thank you. See ya. Goodbye.